We actually have football today. Now, back when I was just only Dynasty and it's the only thing I ever cared about, I'm not going to lie to you. I actually almost enjoyed the offseason more than the actual year, which is embarrassing to admit. Very, very different now where I'm not just 100% Dynasty pilled and just making trades 365 days a year and the only thing I care about. Now I actually care about going through and seeing some of these football games. So pretty excited today, but we have some teams to look at. I've been saving these Dynasty teams for this Dynasty live stream specifically. And first one's going to be from Grouchy Bracelet, my friend. Really appreciate you. I think I maybe have already sent you some free vouchers for questions, but let me send you some more as well. Saying my first time doing Dynasty, felt like I didn't want to take players who are good, but could be on the downfall within a couple of years. So as you can see, I went young players and all around for the most part. I know it's a risk for what ifs, but I feel like my team could be really good in 2 to 3 years. So looking at the team name, I'm actually going to pull this up on the other window. Just give me 1 second to do so. But it looks like it's a league that is relatively balanced. I'm just setting up a prayer that we are not this team that's at the very bottom of the league analyzer. And this is typically what you see when it comes to dynasty startups, right? Where if you're in a dynasty league for 3-4 years, you put it on the My Teams page, you're going to see that there are juggernauts, there are teams in the dumpster. But if it's like a brand new startup, then you're going to be in a spot in which like everybody is somewhat close. And I would say if you did the startup recently, probably most people try to build win now teams just because that's kind of the frame of mind that everybody's in. We are the Philly Fanatics. Okay, we're not the last team, but we are the second to last here. And let me go ahead and let's pull this up. So this is a Superflex Dynasty League where you only start 9 players. So this is going to be a Dynasty League in which quarterback makes up a very high percentage of our starting lineup output. It's not like we can put up a ridiculous amount of wide receiver production in the flexes. You don't have that many wide receiver spots in the flex. So here at quarterback, I very much care about this. Bo Nix, Cam Ward as our top 2 QBs. Is this bad? No. But is this the most exciting quarterback room in the world? Definitely not for this season. You definitely can't contend with this quarterback room this year. For the long term, hopefully Cam Ward can take a massive step forward in dynasty value going into next season. Definitely has the shot to do so. It's just going to be coming down to what does he do his rookie year. Going over to running back, can we contend with Kyron Williams, Tyrone Tracy, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby? We can. Are we strong here? No. Like, are we going to win this league because our running back position? No, we're not. Going over to wide receiver. Can we win with Puka Nacua, Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden, Khalil Shakir? Technically, yeah, we could. Are we going to win because of this position? No, we can't. Not this year. And then going over to tight end, we have Tucker Kraft, Terrence Ferguson. Can we win with this? We can, but is tight end going to be what puts us over the edge? No. So across your entire roster, there's not a single spot where I would go, you know what? We're so bad here. It's going to limit us from winning unless we make a trade. But also, I would be surprised if your team won anything this year because I don't think you're particularly strong at any point of the team for 2025. Now, obviously, long-term, 2026 and beyond, when hopefully Travis Hunter explodes, when hopefully Matthew Golden looks really good in the second half of his rookie season, takes some strides in year 2, long-term wide receiver could be the building block of this roster, and I think we could be really excited about it. One issue that I think maybe you made with this being your first Dynasty League is looking at the running backs like Kyron Williams and Tyrone Tracy and thinking that they are assets that we can confidently build around for years to come. The fact of the matter is, while Tracy does have the upside to be that kind of running back, he also has the downside that he's not startable next season, that he's a legitimate 0. So like if I was a rebuilding team playing for the future, I wouldn't want names like Tyrone Tracy. I wouldn't want Kyron Williams on my team. I'd be going through and selling these players. Like I would sell Kyron Williams, see if we can pick up a future first in a league like this. I would sell Tyrone Tracy, see if we can pick up a future second and third. And honestly, because I don't think your team is situated in a way that we can win this year, I mean, what we possibly can if everything breaks right. But where we're not likely to win this year, I probably would go through and try to sell these running backs. If you wanted to wait until weeks 2, 3, 4 and just see, what happens if we surprise to the upside? What happens if Bo Nix takes the step forward and he truly is a top 4 quarterback this year in fantasy? What happens if Cam Ward breaks out right out the gate? If you wanted to hold off, just wait a little bit, see what it looks like a month into the year. And if you're 3-1, then at that point, we push forward with this team. And if you're 1-3, then at that point, we look to sell Kyron Williams. We look to sell Tyrone Tracy. We look to even sell, obviously, if we could sell Aaron Rodgers for anything, we would. And we pick up those 2026 picks and then build around the core of Bo Nix, Cam Ward, Puka Nacua, Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden. That's what my plan would be. Now, if you could go out there and if you're playing in a league where people don't really know what they're doing and you could sell Kyron Williams for 2 future firsts right now, you don't even need to wait to see what your team looks like. You just know immediately that is a move that we are wanting to make. So today, I would go and I would approach our league mates and go, hey, can I give you Kyron Williams and Aaron Rodgers for your 2026 first and 2027 first? I'm going to offer that to every single one of them. If they know what they're doing, they are going to reject that immediately. Now, if they do reject that, I think you can go into the season. We can go, what if this team can stay competitive? And if it does, cool. And if not, you lower your price and you still look to sell Kyron, Tracy, Rodgers in like weeks 3 or 4. But I think the most likely outcome is this team's not competitive this year. The most likely outcome is you should try to push forward to 2026, earn the 101 next offseason, and then have an exciting team next year. And if that is going to be the case, again, you want to sell Kyron, sell Tracy, sell Rodgers, get anything for Rachaad White, get anything for Tank Bigsby. But I think that's all I got for you in this, my friend. Again, I really appreciate you. I sent you over some of those free vouchers. So if there is anything that you want me to take a look at here for you, trade-wise, start-sit-wise, on this team or any other team, I'd be super happy to look at that for you at any point that you want me to. But thank you again. Really appreciate you. And really hope we get to see you out with another live stream soon. Well, let's move this over to our next team. This is going to be from H. Simpson. Dynasty Startup League. I was the first pick. My plan was to draft for the future and not go for the championship in the first year. But then Nico and London fell to me at the 2-3 turn. Feel like my team is now half win now and half development. So you 100% crushed. Looking at the league analyzer, we are by far and away the best team here. This is a Dynasty 1 quarterback start 9 league. So quarterback, yes, it's a little bit shaky. We have Jordan Love. We have Dak Prescott. Obviously, we're not that excited about this quarterback room. We're just effectively going to be playing the matchups between these two guys. Going over to running back, Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, Byshell Tootin. Long-term upside shots that we're not going to be able to be excited about starting for week 1. And this is going to put us in an awkward spot because, again, we go over to receiver. You have Jamar Chase. You have Nico Collins. You have Drake London. You have Garrett Wilson. You have Jalen Waddle as your wide receiver 5. These are pretty much all cornerstone dynasty assets that it wouldn't be surprising if their value held for a decent amount of time, while at the same time, they give you production to win this season. Going over to tight end, we can't contend here. So you have so much production here at wide receiver that your floor is so high that you need to make a trade to put yourself in a position where we can at least have a shot at winning games early. Because if you can just have a shot at winning games early and you can start off 2-2 and then we get an RJ Harvey breakout, you could be in a really good situation. So as we look at this, I think what I'm probably going to be trying to do is I'm going to just try to trade for a short-term running back piece and a short-term tight end that's not going to cost us too much. Is there a team in this league that looks like they're fine rebuilding? Is there a team that's loading up with rookies, that's loading up with rookie picks? And skimming through this, I don't particularly see a team. Like every team has a player like McCaffrey, James Cook, A.J. Brown, Kyron Williams, Tony Pollard. Like some of these assets that you're definitely not rostering on a rebuilding team. So you know what? We go through and we look at this entire league. There's not a single person that's willing to rebuild in this league. Looks like everybody's trying to win right now. So in that case, it's going to be a lot easier said than done to go trade for a depth running back and a depth tight end piece to just put us in a shot where we can possibly do something. Now, going over and looking at some of these teams, specifically for a tight end that we could possibly use early, like getting Zach Ertz on your team, actually, I think could put you in a position where maybe it helps us win a game early. Obviously, there's no way in hell I'm going out there and paying a pretty penny for Zach Ertz. But is there a world in which we could go through and we could trade Will Shipley for Zach Ertz? If we could sell third for Zach Ertz, sell a third-round pick for Ertz, puts you in a, and honestly, this team has Eckler as well. Like Eckler's another running back that probably hits your starting lineup early over RJ Harvey. And at the same time, may just be the piece you need to stay alive. So if we could trade like Will Shipley in a third-round pick and get back in Austin Eckler and Zach Ertz, I would like to make a tiny move like that. Because if you give your team time, you're going to have some of those breakouts, and they're going to be good for you. Going over, this team has Dallas Goedert and Brock Bowers. I'm offering them a third-round pick for Dallas Goedert right this second. They're probably going to reject, but I'm sending the offer anyway. Looking at their running back depth pieces they don't really have an expendable running back depth piece. So I'm going to offer a third for Goddard. If they reject, I'm going to try to offer them either Mason Taylor or Terrence Ferguson and tell them like, hey, you don't really need to start Goddard anyway this year. Don't you want the upside with the rookie? Hopefully they say yes. But Dallas Goedert would be like a perfect add to your team from that team that has Bowers. This team is Tyler Warren and Kelsey. I'll go out there, offer a third for Kelsey. I'll go out there and offer Mason Taylor for Travis Kelsey. Offer Terrence Ferguson for Travis Kelsey. Again, put yourself in a position that you could potentially contend with. And J.K. Dobbins would be another great add for your team. If you could trade a second and a third and pick up J.K. Dobbins and Travis Kelsey, you're not really pot committing yourself a ton with that future value. Obviously, the second and the third will be worth more than J.K. Dobbins and Travis Kelsey 12 months from now. But if you have Dobbins on this team, giving this running back room a little bit of life early in the year, and we have a tight end that we can just start, you can get by and you can win the league based off your wide receiver position. Going through and looking at another potential trade, this team has Trey McBride and Mark Andrews. Is there a world in which we can get Andrews from them? I'd offer a second for Andrews. This team has Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, Chig. I would offer a third for Chig. I'd probably rather start him over the rookie tight ends early. They don't really have a running back depth piece they can afford to get rid of. So overall, you crush this. I agree your team's awkward because, like, you could contend if it wasn't just for, like, two crappy positions right now. But I think it should be a reasonable enough price for us to just go and get a crappy tight end, a crappy running back that we can start early in the year, even if that player's worth nothing next offseason. If we pay a really low price to get him, I think you could be completely fine with that. So I would go through, I would try to pick up like a random bum depth veteran tight end and running back that you'd feel good putting in your week 1, week 2, week 3 starting lineup to keep this team alive. And then hopefully we're not paying more than like a second and or a third round pick to get that done. But really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. Now, Ebarish with our next team says, just use your input on the Cam Ward and Travis Hunter trade. Felt like the upside was better for the team. Yeah, your team, the only thing that matters is upside. Legitimately the only thing. Thankful for your input. As always, your content allowed me to get my team to this point after a few mediocre years. I really appreciate you, my guy. And this is not only the best team in this league. If we stacked the bottom two teams in the league together, their rosters still probably wouldn't be as good as ours. We have the number 1 ranked wide receiver room and the number 1 ranked running back room and the number 2 ranked quarterback room. So again, the only thing that matters is going to be upside, upside, upside with this roster. One thing that is going to be important to note is when we are looking at selling a veteran for a team like this, it may be difficult for us to find somebody that would actually be willing to trade for them. Because if we're looking at like selling Tyreek Hill, you're going to need somebody to buy Tyreek Hill who thinks they can win the league this year. When we have Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, A.J. Brown, Joe Burrow, like anybody who thinks they can win the league this year would have to be delusional. Now, there are moves that we could potentially make, and I think the moves probably center around us trading away some of like the rookie rebuilding pieces that I'm not saying are bad. I mean, they're exciting options. But the reason we would be looking to sell them is I think there are going to be a lot of teams in your league that are garbage because you took all the value that are like, hey, I kind of got to rebuild. My wide receiver 3 is Cooper Kupp. My wide receiver 1 is Xavier Worthy, and I have Pat Frymuth at tight end. How am I competing with this team? So what I'm going to be looking to do is I'm going to be trying to get Brock Bowers, get Trey McBride, go and pay for the elite tight end. There's no reason for us to not also have the number 1 ranked tight end room because we submitted a starting lineup for week 1. We have Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud in at quarterback superflex. Then we have Sam Laporta in at tight end. And then we need 7 running backs and receivers. We have Bijan, Gibbs, Chase Brown, Derrick Henry as auto starts with those 4 names. Then we have Malik Neighbors, Drake London, A.J. Brown as our other starters. So in that case, you're telling me that we have R.J. Harvey, Travis Hunter, Igbuka, Rome, Tyreek all on our bench. Obviously, I would love for us to go through and I would love for us to sell Tyreek Hill going like, you know what? Tyreek's value is going to be going down over the next 12 months. He's on our bench anyway. Might as well cash in, see what we can get. But the fact of the matter is, going back to what I was talking about previously, when we look at these teams that have the elite tight ends, are they delusional enough to think that they can contend this year? Is this team here delusional enough to think that they can contend this year when their wide receiver 3 is Calvin Ridley and our wide receiver 3 is A.J. Brown? Now, they have both Brock Bowers and George Kittle. So a couple different things that we can do. If you wanted to trade for like Bowers specifically, who would be who I'm targeting? Why not? You can afford it. I would offer them Sam Laporta and Igbuka, Sam Laporta and Travis Hunter. Hell, throw in Isaac Tesla, throw in Jack Besh. These guys will literally never make an impact on your team. So I'm going to the Laporta team. I'll give you Sam Laporta. I'll give you Travis Hunter. And I'll give you a Jack Besh, Isaac Tesla. I'll give you all these guys. Give me back Brock Bowers. Go say the same thing to the Trey McBride team. Where is the McBride team here? Assuming it's this squad. Yeah, the Trey McBride team has what? Jacoby Myers, their wide receiver 3. They already lost Mixon, Brock Purdy, and Matthew Stafford's their quarterback room. No way this team could convince themselves that they are contending, and they have Mark Andrews as well. I'm going to offer, hey, I'll give you Sam Laporta, Travis Hunter, give me Trey McBride. If they want Loveland instead of Laporta, give them Loveland. But the only move that you could potentially make at this point is selling some of these young wide receivers in 2-for-1 deals to get elite onesies from teams that realize that they have no shot to win this year. And you can afford to go out there and pay up for the elite tight end. You can afford to go out there and pay up for an elite QB2, which is typically, obviously, a luxury, but it's a luxury that you can afford because we are by far and away the best team in this league. So I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And again, there's not much that we can say with this team because you do just have by far and away the best team in the league, and it's not even remotely close. Now let's go over to our next team. This is going to be Ham. Says won the championship with this team last year. Thanks. I appreciate you, my friend. Looking at teams that are coming off winning the ship, it does vary. Obviously, sometimes you have the juggernauts like the team that we just saw. And then sometimes you have a team that went to push in and all of a sudden they're needing to go through and they're needing to kind of retool. They traded a bunch of picks. They traded all their young players. And let's see where we are at. We are 4th in the league analyzer. I guess Darnold actually probably had a pretty big impact on us winning last year, which is funny. But we have Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold at quarterback with no relevant QB3. This is a 10-team Superflex league, so the depth at running back, the depth at wide receiver is going to matter a decent amount, so I'm not going to spaz about not having a quarterback 3. But if we were wanting to contend this year, probably would be ideal. Now, going over to running back, we have Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, 2 very clearly contending assets, 2 assets that obviously, if we were pivoting over to 2026, we'd be looking to sell them because they're probably worth less 12 months from now than they are today. But the production's going to be great. And we have the depth of David Montgomery, Jordan Mason, phenomenal running back room to win this year. Going over to receiver, we have Jefferson, Nico, Garrett Wilson, Khalil Shakir. Questionable depth beyond this. Tight end, we have Trey McBride, Harold Fannin, but again, questionable depth beyond McBride. So in a start 10 league, we're starting Daniels, Darnold, Barkley, Taylor, Montgomery. That's 5 players. Jefferson, Nico, Wilson, Shakir, Trey McBride. Our week 1 starting lineup's great. I think that you could find yourself in a position where the depth is going to get a little ugly. Not only is the depth going to get a little ugly, but it matters because you have to start 10 players. So I'm not doing anything with this team today because week 1, your starting lineup's great. And I'm not going to try to go out there proactively trade for depth when we may or may not need it. Because if we find ourselves in a crappy spot where we got to start Jordan Mason in a bye week, it's not the end of the world, right? But if you were to get an injury or one of your players face plants, say David Montgomery for whatever reason is no longer viable. Say Sam Darnold for whatever reason is going back to what he was with the New York Jets. And just him at QB2 is going to lose us the league. Your 2026 second and third, I would be very quick to move these during the season. Because if I was looking at the runway for your team, I think for sure you are in a situation where we should plan on winning back-to-back. That should be our number 1 goal. But 12 months from now, you're probably going to be in a little bit of a shaky spot knowing we don't have our 2026 first, knowing that we don't necessarily have any rookies. We have the aging vets like Barkley, Taylor, Montgomery. So I am pushing in to win right now. I don't want you to trade your second and or a third for a running back or for a wide receiver or for a quarterback or for a tight end today because we don't know what you're going to need today. Week 1, it looks good, but you get a Garrett Wilson injury, crap, we're going to need help at wide receiver. Or if Darnold turns to dust, crap, we need help at quarterback. Or McBride goes down, crap, we're going to need those picks to trade for a tight end. So this is just our ammo to make moves during the season. Your team is situated in a really strong spot for this year. And it's just going to come down to what is the setup like in week 6 if we get an injury to one of these positions and we need to trade those picks. And we'll have a much better idea because if you were to trade for depth right now, maybe I tell you to go through and get, hey, let's trade for a QB3. And we trade those picks and we go get a quarterback like Daniel Jones. And it's like, oh, cool, we have a QB3 now. But then we get the Trey McBride injury, and it's like, well, we're absolutely screwed at tight end, and we don't have the 2026 picks, and I'm going to hold on to the 2027 picks for sure, as I think there's a chance that we want to tear this down next offseason. So don't make any plays right now. I think your team's situated in a good spot. Have those picks as backup plans if anything were to occur that we're not expecting as of today during the season. And then obviously we can go through and we can sell those picks to plug that hole, which I think you're probably going to end up having to do because the depth is questionable. So you get one injury, I think those picks are out the door. But we're not doing that right now. I think we're going to be waiting a bit. And I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way here. And yeah, thank you so much. And congrats on winning last year. I think you're honestly probably the favorite to win again this year. Now, let's move this over to Alabaso. Says it's a new Dynasty startup, 12-team start 10 Superflex tight end premium. We had an auction draft and I missed out on most of my guys. Was able to trade Garrett Wilson, Caleb in a second for Lamb. Phenomenal trade. My running back tight end put me in a position to go for the gusto this year with the age. Any thought on whether I should push chips in or retool? So the first thing that I want to commend your league on is typically if you do an auction startup, you are going to see a large discrepancy between the team values at the top versus the team values at the bottom. Like, this looks like it was a draft. This looks like it's actually a very balanced league. So it looks like your league mates, they knew what the hell they were doing. Now, pulling this up, you're saying that we need receivers, and I agree, we probably need wide receiver depth. I think this is almost similar to the team that we looked at previously, where the depth is going to be a little questionable. And I will say right now, 12 months from today, your team is going to be garbage. Like, let's just be on the same page. 12 months from today, Davante Adams may be nothing. Davante Adams is going to be what, 33 this year or 32? George Kittle is going to be 32 years old this year. J.K. Dobbins next year may be nothing. Javonte next year may be nothing. Tank Bigsby next year may be nothing. Breece Hall next year is going to be on his second contract. So 12 months from now, your team is going to need to retool. I think the depth at running back is going to get washed out. The Davante Adams, George Kittle veteran presence are going to be a little bit worse. So this is your year to win it. Now, if we were looking at winning this league, start 10 format, we have Bo, Dak, both in our lineup as of today. Actually, funny enough, I may consider starting Daniel Jones over Dak Prescott given the matchups that we have, but besides the point. Those are our two quarterbacks. We have Breece, Pacheco, Lamb, Thomas, Kittle. Those are 7 starters. And we have Davante Adams. Those are your auto locks every single week. Those are 8 starters. And we're going to have to pick 2 final spots between, I guess, Hollywood Brown, Tank Bigsby, J.K. Dobbins, Javonte. And the depth there is extremely shaky. What I would love to do if we could with this team is I would love to transition some of this running back depth where we just have so much of it, and we could probably find a team in your league that needs some help. If we can transition some of this running back depth over to getting some production at wide receiver, just not even the top end, players I'd be more comfortable regardless of matchup with. Like, this team here is Jordan Mason as their running back too. This team really needs some help with running backs. Is there a world where they're interested at all in us trading them Zach Charbonnet for Calvin Ridley, J.K. Dobbins, and Javonte Williams for Ridley? Probably not, but I'm throwing out the offer anyway. This team is Cam Scatterbo as their running back 3. It's probably not going to be viable early. They have Michael Pittman Jr. as well. Is there a world in which we can sell Dobbins and Javonte for Michael Pittman Jr.? This team's kind of fine at running back. This team has Judkins and Caleb, so they desperately need some help at running back. Is there a world in which I can send them Zach Charbonnet, J.K. Dobbins, Javonte, pick up like Judy and Jacoby? Or a smaller deal of Dobbins and Javonte for Jerry Judy. Or for Jacoby Myers. But the issue with the running backs that we have, like J.K. Dobbins, is I think our starting lineup looks okay week 1 with them in there. But as the team progresses, or as the year progresses, and we have R.J. Harvey taking a larger role, it's going to become a little shakier. And I think if you could just transition some of the running back depth to one of those running back needy teams early, for some wide receiver depth, the wide receiver depth is going to have a longer shelf life. Another thing that we could look to do with this team, because again, I'm sitting here with the thought process, this is going to be a setup in which we are just trying to win this year and we're going to retool next year. And we need wide receivers. We have 4 starting quarterbacks. Nobody's going to trade for Daniel Jones. Nobody's going to trade for Sam Darnold. Maybe we sell Dak Prescott. And then because then we can play Darnold, Daniel Jones, Richardson based off matchups here. So this team doesn't have a third quarterback. They don't have that much production at wide receiver, though. This team is McCarthy and Russell Wilson. This team's pretty damn bad. And I would love to go out there and make a trade to go get a wide receiver from them. But the fact of the matter is their wide receiver 2 is Kyle Williams. So there's nothing for us to do there. This team has Tyler Shuck as their third quarterback. They actually do have some wide receiver production. Can we trade Dak Prescott for Xavier Worthy? If you could pivot from Dak to Worthy, I think that honestly, that could be a trade that could potentially help both teams dramatically. Let's go through and look at other teams that potentially need some help at quarterback. This team has no QB3. Could we trade Dak for Garrett Wilson? This team is Cam Orchard or Sanders, QB2, QB3. They don't really have a wide receiver in that range that we'd be interested in. This team has Geno Smith, so they're fine. So our plays are, can we trade Dak Prescott for a high-end wide receiver 2 that gives us a decent little runway with? Or can we trade the running back depth pieces like Dobbins, Javonte, Bigsby for wide receiver depth pieces like Michael Pittman Jr., Jacoby Myers? But I think just adding the wide receiver depth where Jalen Royals wouldn't be our wide receiver 4 anymore would put you in a really good position. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. And overall, it is very impressive, again, like I said, that your league mates seem like they know what they're doing if the league analyzer is that close with the values across the board coming out of a startup. But we got another team to look at for Alabaso. And real quick, let me answer this from Jared. It says, yo, Mason. Actually, no, I'm sorry. From Frank says, how do we get our team graded? I couldn't select Mason on the Flock site for some reason. So I have my team reviews off. We just got backed up with too many team reviews, and I'm trying to get back to the point where if you submit a team review, I can look at it within 24 hours. So I turned my team reviews off on flockfantasy.com. I will turn them back on later today. We've been streaming for like 5 hours every day on the main channel, answering questions and reviewing teams. So I've been trying my best to get through all these, but obviously it's easier said than done. Now, with Alabaso here again with the second squad. It says, thoughts on the team. Startup draft earlier this year. Went very rookie heavy after missing most of the guys in the previous draft. Any suggestions on improving the roster? First thing that I want to point out is we are in a really good spot where we are a top 3 team in this league with the league analyzer. Second thing is the quarterback depth is not going to matter nearly as much in this league because it is a 10-team Superflex league as opposed to a 12-team Superflex league. So here, quarterback, we have Josh Allen, we have Justin Fields, we have Aaron Rodgers, we have Jalen Milroe. I am not that excited about our QB2, QB3 situation. If this was a 12-team format where Geno Smith probably cost a decent amount, where Matthew Stafford wasn't legitimately free, I think maybe we would be concerned. But here, because it's a 10-team format, I think you're going to be okay. Like, if Justin Fields face plants, where it's like, hey, Justin Fields turns into somebody that's not startable, then sure, you can go ahead and you can trade for Geno Smith, and it's going to be incredibly cheap. Now, going over to running back, we have Amari Hampton, James Cook, Trey Benson. So Hampton is the locked and loaded bell cow that we have for the foreseeable future. James Conner is the 1-year rental to make sure that we can contend this year. And this isn't the strongest running back room in a 10-team league, but it's going to be serviceable. We're going to get by, and Amari Hampton obviously is a top 5 running back in Dynasty today. Going over to receiver, we have Nico, Tet, Travis Hunter, Rasheed Igbuka, Brandon Ayuk. Actually having Jacoby Myers here, even though it's a 10-team league, is going to be relevant for the team, just given the fact we have no Godwin and we have no Rice early. And then going over to tight end, we have David Njoku, Dalton Kincaid, and Elijah Arroyo, which I think we're completely fine here. So overall, I actually really like this team. And it's very similar to a lot of the redraft redraft team reviews that we've been doing as of late, where it's boring. I know it's not exactly what people want to hear, but you don't do anything with this team here. This team you leave as is. And again, I hate to say that, but the reason is it's a start 10 format, right? So we're starting Allen Fields week 1. Running back, we're starting Hampton, James Cook. We have David Njoku at tight end. So we need 5 receivers to put in our lineup. We go over and we look at what we have at wide receiver. We have Nico, Tet, Hunter, Igbuka, and like Jacoby Myers starting early. The issue with your team and why you can't do anything right now is you have no Rice, you have no Godwin early. I'm sorry, you have no Rice, you have no Ayuk early. We have Travis Hunter, Igbuka, Tet as rookie wide receivers that could start a little slower and get better as time goes on. But you don't have the wide receiver depth to go out there and make an upgrade. I think you're going to have to wait until you end up getting Rashee Rice back in, Brandon Ayuk back in, and once that happens, if at that point you wanted to go through and you wanted to try to sell like Tet McMillan and James Conner and go get a true elite, like borderline top 5 running back in Dynasty, we can afford it. If you wanted to go out there and try to get the elite tight end by selling a receiver, we can afford it. And that's a move we want to make in week 6. But it's a trade you just can't afford to make now. And you may end up going and trading that receiver for an elite QB as well. So I would not play around with this today. I think your team's situated really nice today. We probably want to trade a depth receiver to go get a stud at another position where we are the number 1 team in the league analyzer out wide receiver. But we're not going to want to do that until about week 6 when we get Rice back in and when Brandon Ayuk is hopefully going to be returning soon as well. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And again, thank you so much for sending both those teams in. Now, Duke is going to be our next team. So just went all in and made 2 separate deals. I am very concerned about this because it looks like the team at the top has a juggernaut. So going all in is a little scary. Combined, I sent 3 2027 first. Here, God. Cam Ward, Caleb, Judkins for Lamar, H.N. Addison. In your settings, especially start 9 format, I would way rather have Lamar than the 3 2027 first. Give me Lamar over the 2027 first. Cam Ward and Caleb versus H.N. Probably give me H.N. Honestly, fine deal. Completely fine trade. Did I make a mistake? Should I be worried about depth? I have all my 2028 picks, but nothing else. I hate, and I mean I hate, trading away our 2026 picks and 2027 picks unless you are a juggernaut. Because if anything happens, if anything goes sideways, which obviously fantasy football is super unpredictable, you have no security. Not only is it not possible for you to then trade a 2026 first to go fill a hole at tight end if you get a Tyler Warren injury, but if everything goes sideways and we get a Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts injury, then what we're probably going to have to do is, like, typically if you have your 2026 first, Lamar and Jalen Hurts go down, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we can maybe look to play for the long term. We can look to play for 2026. You can't do that. You are pot committed. You are doing everything that you can to win this year and next year. Quarterback, we can definitely do so. I mean, we have Lamar, we have Jalen Hurts, we have Jordan Love. We have a great QB room. Now, there's another team in the league that has Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, and Drake May. So there's another team that's going to be strong competition. Running back, we have Genty, Achane, Trevion Henderson. So running back, incredibly strong. 2 RB1s this year. All 3 of these running backs, obviously, should be extremely relevant for this season and next season. And next season, we have to put ourselves in a position in which we are a contending team as well. Going over to receiver, we have Lamb, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison, Matthew Golden. So we have, honestly, your team's just fine. Tight end, we have Tyler Warren. The only concern would be like, oh, okay, I guess maybe something happens to Tyler Warren. We could be dust at tight ends. But you don't have the picks to replenish depth, which typically is very scary. But it's a start 9 format. And look at how many startable players that we have. We are always going to have 2 of those starting lineup spots going to the quarterbacks with Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love. No matter the matchup, you're going to be able to find, you're going to be starting 2 of these. Even if one of them gets injured, cool. We can go and we can start Lamar and Jordan Love every single week if Jalen Hurts goes down. So we really just need 7 total starters across running back, wide receiver, tight end. Genty, Achane, Henderson, Lamb, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison, Matthew Golden, Tyler Warren. We have 9 potential starters. And that's assuming that Kyle Williams doesn't turn into anything, Dylan Sampson doesn't turn into anything, and DJ Giddens doesn't turn into anything. So even if you were to get an injury to like Ashton Genty, you're still going to be okay. You're still not going to have to panic. And it's not like not having our 2026 first severely limits us because we're not able to go trade for a new running back at that point. Because again, I think you're going to be able to get by with what we currently have. So I don't make any trades with your team right now. One thing that I think you could, actually, I guess one thing you could possibly consider is if we are pot committed to win over the next 2 years, pivoting from Tyler Warren, like this team has Bowers and Trey McBride. We don't have the depth to go through and trade for, never mind. Like this team is Kittle. They have no future picks. I was going to say, if we could find a team that has like really strong tight end production in the short term, but not so much. I mean, but they're looking to rebuild at the same time. We could potentially try to sell like Tyler Warren for George Kittle in another piece. But we're actually probably not going to be doing that here. So honestly, I leave your team as is. The only thing that's worth talking about is the scenario in which you were to get like a Tyler Warren injury. And if you do get a Tyler Warren injury, you're going to have 2 other ways to go about this. If all your wide receivers are smashing, where all of them are viable, you probably just sell a wide receiver for a tight end straight up. Now, if like say Matthew Golden doesn't turn out to be anything, and then all of a sudden, if we were to just sell a wide receiver straight up for a tight end, our depth would be highly questionable. If that's the case, what you would probably want to do is you would probably want to go ahead and you'd want to be tearing down from a player like Ashton Genty, picking up maybe a lesser running back like Chase Brown, and an additional tight end on top of it. But it's going to come down to what does the depth look like on our team at that point. And again, that's not even something that we want to do today. That's just talking about the hypothetical situation where if a problem does occur to this team halfway through the year. But like for now, you have the second best quarterback room according to the league analyzer, the best running back room, the third best wide receiver room, and the third best tight end room. So you're 100% set up to win this year. You're 100% set up to win next year. Do not trade away your 2028 picks no matter what. Like the team is phenomenal now, but you go 2 years into the future with no rookie picks. While the team's incredibly young and while the team's phenomenal now with how we project things, fantasy football is very random. We get things wrong all the time. And what I can be pretty confident with is if you go 2 years with no rookie picks, your team's going to be much worse 2 years from now than it is today, even if you have a younger roster. But I think that's all we got for you. Let me hook you up with some free questions just in case you have anything that you want to send my way. Great team. Again, you should be the favorite to win this year. Probably should be the favorite to win next year as well. But I want to hold on to those 2028 picks. That way we have some flexibility down the road. Don't make any trades outside of an injury. And there you may either have to just transition value from wide receiver to tight end, or you may have to down tier to pick up the extra player. But for now, you're not doing either. Now let's move this over to Crayon Eater. It says, I just got done with my rookie draft today, playing with a lot of friends that don't understand how to play Dynasty. Okay, my man. I'm going to be real with you. We're talking big game for us to not be the number one team in the league analyzer. Looks like the setup with the power rankings, one team's by far and away the best here just because they loaded up on a bunch of future picks. And this team somehow has 4 2026 first. Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, Nico Ladd, JSN, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall, Sam Laporta, Tyler Ward, Mark Andrews. You're talking as if you're this team. You're talking as if you're the best team in this league by far. But I have made all kinds of trades, some good, some bad, of course, wanting to see what you think of the team and is it ready to contend or am I a rebuilder? Also, what trades or moves would you recommend? Appreciate you, my friend, but it looks like there's that one good team in the league. Then there are 6 teams that are all about the same. And then there are 3 teams at the bottom that are kind of buns. But pulling this up, it's a start 9 super flex format. So ultimately, the depth isn't going to be super important here. In terms of what we have at running back and wide receiver in comparison to start 10 super flex league, which is, I mean, in my mind, the standard in dynasty leagues at this point. Looking at what we have at QB, we have Caleb, Bo, May, Fields. I would love to say, you know what? We don't necessarily need Justin Fields. Let's go through and let's look at to trade Justin Fields and get an upgrade at running back. But the fact of the matter is it's a 10-team league. It's not a 12-team format. So it's going to be hard to find somebody that's wanting to contend this year that doesn't have a third starting quarterback. We can go ahead and we can skim through this real quick and see if we can find someone like that. This team has Geno. This team has Penix. This team is Young. I guess this team doesn't have a third quarterback. If they would be interested in Justin Fields, like if we could package together Justin Fields and Marvin Harrison to get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, let's go for it. But again, probably not happening. Probably much easier said than done. And then I don't really see like if we could try to sell Trevion and Fields for Jahmyr Gibbs, we would love to do so. But again, probably not happening. Much easier said than done. This team has Spencer Rattler as their QB3. Maybe if they get desperate during the year, we could try to go through and make a trade with them. But the issue is they don't really have like a wide receiver that we're that excited about anyway. Like I guess you could trade Fields for Tyreek if you wanted, but the depth doesn't matter much at receiver either. This team is Russ starting early. Maybe they struggle at some point. Maybe we can try to offer them Fields and Trevion Henderson for Amari and Hampton. I think that would be interesting. Or Fields and Brian Thomas for CeeDee Lamb. Fields and Igbuka for Tet McMillan. Fields and Rome for Travis Hunter. Going through this team is, I guess Jackson Dart. But they don't really have anybody of interest for us. Yeah, all these teams here at the bottom are just going to be really shaky. Where like even if they could use Fields, they don't really have any value on their teams. But one thing that we need to be thinking about as we make those trades is we do not have our own 2026 first. So you can't rebuild. There's no incentive in ever losing games for you here. You are just incentivized to go out there and try to win and do anything that you can to make that happen. So running back, we have Trevion, Kenneth Walker, Chuba Hubbard, completely fine here. Wide receiver, we have Brian Thomas, Marv, Egbuka, Rome, Jordan Addison. Great wide receiver room. Tight end, we have Tucker Kraft, David Njoku. So overall, you have a solid team. It's a very well-balanced team. I mean, the quote-unquote worst position that we have, according to the league analyzers, running back, and we're ranked 6th. It's not like we have a positional need anywhere. I would just really stress saying, like, man, you don't want to go through and you don't want to try to rebuild when you're in a situation where you've already traded away your 2026 first. Like, the big incentive you would have to do that is kind of gone. So, is there anything else to talk about? I mean, obviously, one thing you could try to do is if you wanted to get up to like the elite onesies, like elite skill positions, if you wanted to try to get up to like Jahmyr Gibbs level, Drake May technically is tradable on your roster if we really wanted to win this year, because we have Caleb, Bo, May, Fields. And obviously there's going to be a lot more interest if we were to look to trade May instead of Fields, but the price point would just have to go up on all those deals that we were talking about. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way. And again, great team. I think you're ready to contend this year. Do not rebuild. Now, let's move this over. I think Hellboy Jordan, this is our redraft team. So let me refresh and see if I can find any more Dynasty teams. Okay. Okay, redraft, 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 redraft. So it looks like maybe there's a Dynasty team that's loaded further down than that I can't get to. That's Dynasty, which hopefully we can get to sooner rather than later. But appreciate y'all hanging out with us again. Big day today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say. But not really. I'll be doing a live Q&A for probably 7-8 hours. Starting. Got a meeting with the devs at 12. I'll do some work before then. So meeting with the devs is at 12. It's going to end at like probably 12:30. Probably could fire up that at 1. So we'll do like a 6.5 hour stream leading up to kickoff. So on the redraft channel, we'll probably go live again at 1 p.m. Central Time, so 2 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be answering all like the start set, super messages, trade questions, and team reviews there. And again, I have my team reviews turned off on the site. We just have too many in right now. But if we stream for 6.5 hours, hopefully we can get through enough of them where I can turn them back on today, which I would expect. I mean, if y'all have waited this long, I'm going to have to do this anyway. Let me just count how many I have right now, because we've gone through a ton. Let's see. So, because I was streaming on the redraft channel like a couple days ago, and I had streamed for 4 hours, and at that point I was like, oh, thank God, I've knocked out a lot of these Dynasty a lot of these team reviews. And then I went to the My Teams page and I counted them. And like when I had started the stream, I had like 80 reviews waiting for me. And then after streaming for 4 hours, I counted and I had like 100 reviews waiting. I was like, okay, more people are sending them in faster than I can actually answer them. So I think I'm going to have to like turn them on, turn them off, turn them on, turn them off throughout the year. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. I honestly thought I had way less than that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I got to stream as much as I can. But appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And hopefully I can see y'all in the live stream in a couple hours. But if not, really hope you have a great opening day. And yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me.